Well, good morning. Hello to those who just joined on. My name is Savannah, and I am the Administrative Director here at Yosemite Sierra Summer Camp. And I am going to explain the process of how a morning on the porch goes. So, of course, I introduce everyone, welcome everybody in, and then I'll introduce our other directors. And then from there, we will be just going through this month's topic, which is preparing your camper for their session. If you have any questions, you're going to throw it at the bottom at the Q&A, and at the end we will be answering any questions that come up. So don't be shy. Questions are great, so just go ahead and throw them in. So without further ado, like I said, my name is Savannah. I have Sarah and Jessica. Sarah is the owner and executive director at YSSC, and Jessica is the associate director. So I am going to remove my pin so we're both shared on the screen, and here they are.
Wonderful. Thank you, Savannah. Welcome, everybody. Good morning.
Good
Thank
morning.
you for being here. We're excited. We love getting to do these, and we're so grateful that you have joined us here this morning. Like Savannah said, we'll be talking about preparing your kiddo for camp. There's lots of fun ways to do that. But before we dive in, I want to tell you guys about something that's happening right now. It's actually finishing up this week. And so we want to give you guys an opportunity to know a little bit more about something that we love. It happens every spring, and it is our theme voting. There are so many fun things that happen at camp, but this is one of the ways that we start getting really excited about camp before your kiddo ever comes, sets foot on campus. And so we have a few new families that are with us this morning. And so we want to give you the opportunity to learn just a little bit more about what we mean by theme voting. And so every summer we have an awesome theme. What that means is it's kind of the extra camp magic. It's the flavors, it's the characters, it's the way that we infuse playful silliness and imagination and creativity into camp. And so we color our campers' experiences with a theme. But we want campers to have a say in this. We want campers to start to use their voice. I'm actually going to talk about that at the end of this. But this is an opportunity for campers to feel like they're a part of, speaking into their camp experience. And so this year we have 3 themes. And so we have presented 3 themes to our kiddos, and they get the opportunity to vote which theme they would like to experience at camp in the summertime. And then depending on which one wins, in just a couple of weeks, we will launch the winner of the theme, and everyone can start to get really excited, maybe pick up some costumes and things to bring. We love when campers bring costumes ahead of time, and it's not required, but it is a lot of fun. So we have 3 themes that your campers can choose from this season. We have a happy birthday theme. All of them are centered around our 50th anniversary that we are celebrating this year. So the first one is the happy birthday, think epic party that just lasts 2 weeks long. It's going to be a blast. And there is legacy, which is really celebrating kind of the all-star themes and characters that have come throughout the years, all 50 years of camp. And then the last one that they can choose from is Eureka. And that's really like a nod to the golden anniversary of 50th. It's gold mining, adventure. And so all 3 of them would be fantastic options. We're excited. And I can honestly say, I don't know that there has ever been a race that has been so close. It's so close. I won't tell you which one's in the lead, but I will say Savannah just tallied the votes as of yesterday, and they're all spread out between just 3 votes. So it is anyone's game still. Voting ends on Friday. Your camper does need to be enrolled in order to vote. And so if you are a family that's still checking it out and are, deciding if they want to enroll, I would encourage you to enroll by Friday so your camper can have some fun opportunities to make their voice heard. So don't miss out on that chance. And you might be wondering, Jessica, how do I vote? Do I send a carrier pigeon? You do not. You go onto your parent login. So Savannah is actually going to spend some time this morning sharing a little bit about some of the nuts and bolts of how to fill out forms, how to find your parent login, all the things that you need to know. And so I'm actually going to toss it back to Savannah, and she's going to walk through how to log on to your parent portal and fill out some of the important forms like the theme voting.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah, I would say theme voting is probably the more fun forms out of the batch of forms that we have. All still fun though in their own way. But yes, so I'm going to share my screen to walk everyone through kind of just the parent portal in general, tools that you'll be able to utilize throughout the summer, tools you can utilize now, and of course, how to access forms and documents. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Right now, we're just looking at what a parent portal looks like. So you see at the top, we have Yosemite Sierra Summer Camp and our sister camp, Emerald Cove Day Camp, for those who may have some younger siblings. We are family, so we all have the same parent portal. So just a little nod to them. Scrolling down, you'll just see, forms. Forms is where we're going to find the theme voting, any other forms that are required for your camper to participate in activities and just to be at camp in general. Below is the referral form. So if you just want to throw in a friend's email, they will get information about camp. So you can have them come to camp with you, which would be so fun. Below is the camper application that you have submitted. This is also where you'd be able to submit more applications for more campers or more children in your family. Going along, your family account. This shows your contact information, financial management, and accounts that you have on file. And that could be either a debit card, a credit card, or an e-check. What's great about your parent portal is you can make payments at any time. You can change cards, update any payment method that you'd like at any point. So you don't necessarily need to talk to me to get that done, though I do love helping you out and making sure that process goes seamlessly. And then below, we see more of what you'll experience when your child is at camp. So camp stamps, as you see, it says 6 remaining. I'm actually on my mom's old account because I was a camper here, but she has logged camp stamps, which is a digital letter that gets sent to our office up in YSSC and gets printed off daily. So that's how another way you can stay in touch with your camper, as well as below online community. Viewing photos, saving photos, buying photos, and also sharing your parent portal or access to these photos through guest accounts with family and with friends. So brief overview. I know it's a lot, but I do just want to focus on forms and documents. So when it's time after a busy day and you've sat down and it's time to just tackle those forms, you are just going to go right to the top of your parent portal. It's right at the top. And clicking it, you will see everything that needs to be turned in. So everything that's gray, as you see, hasn't been done yet. So camper application hasn't been done yet. This is just an example, but in your case, this wouldn't be here. Camper photo is always so great to have because we create folders for our counselors to look at what your camper looks like, to get to know your camper, and having a photo, one that actually represents the age that they're at, is great. I remember being a counselor and opening my folder and seeing an infant. So I was like, okay, all right, I know they weren't an infant, but an updated photo definitely helps us out. And then next down the list is health history. I will say this one can be cumbersome because we want to know everything about your camper. We want to make sure that we have everything down health-wise, because if something happens, we want to be prepared, and we want to make sure when we contact you or when our Club Med team contacts you, everything is accurate. So health history is really important. And if you have any questions about that, please throw them in the chat below, or we can talk another time. Along with the health portion of forms, our physician's exam, which is a downloadable form. And you know that because of this arrow right here. When you click that, it gets downloaded, and you then will send it to your physician's office if you have already done a physical for your camper, or you take it for the physical, they fill it out, and then you can scan it and re-upload, which is so easy. You have to skip the mail, or you can mail it in and all those fun things. So definitely an option. Of course, the theme voting is right below. So you'll be able to have your camper vote on a theme. Below the theme voting is the cabin mate request, and this tends to be the most popular one. It is optional, it is not required. So if your camper does not know anyone, that's great. They are going to know so many new people at camp. That's one of the skills that we build, which is friend making. So don't worry if you just feel like you don't have any names to put down. But if you do have names to put down, we do have 2 spaces to put 2 names. And this is because we, again, want to create that skill of meeting new friends, but we also can't have 10 people down in 2 spaces. So there's a reason for just the 2 slots for 2 names. Below that is the YSSC Code of Conduct. This is a form that you need to sit down with your camper and go over. Just goes over our rules of behavior, of respect, and how just we conduct ourselves at YSSC. So it's important that your camper is there to read and also understand what we allow and what we don't allow. Below Code of Conduct is the COVID-19 agreement form. This is a form for parents to sign and also to have your camper there as well. Again, just goes through just the agreement, say COVID arises in the area, or if your camper does test positive for COVID. So that's just an agreement between camp and between parents. Below is the no care package policy. We do not have any packages that come through. We do this because not everyone gets a package, and we just want to eliminate that whole thing in itself. But there is an exception if, say, your camper forgets something like their retainer, something that is a necessity, like a retainer, or they forgot their shoes. That would have to be a conversation through me. So if you just send a package just to send it, or you send a package with that retainer, you have to go through me before we accept that package. So that's something to know as well. Another form to go through with your camper is our no tech policy. We are absolutely tech free. There are only some small cases where a phone is needed for travel, and that is for our airline travel because campers are more often than not traveling by themselves. But this no tech policy needs to be signed and needs to be gone over with your camper. So please sit them down to look that over. And then 3 more. I know there's a lot, but these are all so important. This one especially, the YSSC personality profile. So I mentioned that a camper photo is really important so we can physically see what your camper looks like. But our personality profile gets added into that camper file. So we want to be best students of your camper because that helps not only directors, but it helps counselors just get to know them more and anticipate their arrival at camp. So there are questions that may seem tedious, but like I said, we really want to be good students of your campers. So if you don't fill it out, you may be hearing from me on the phone to make sure that we get those important things answered so we can just make sure that your camper has a great experience at camp. And then the last 2, settle up and transportation, kind of go hand in hand. The settle up is truly any additional items that you may add, like additional financial items. So if you plan on taking the charter bus, or you want to add a sweatshirt to your camper's account, a sweatshirt will be given out to them on the first day of camp along with their complimentary shirt. Those things kind of go hand in hand with transportation, because with transportation, you let us know if you're driving them up, taking the bus, or going through the air down to the airport. So we have a shuttle system with staff members as well. Yeah, I talked a lot and I know it's a lot to go through. So thank you for bearing with me. But all of these are so important and so impactful. So again, I'm just saying thank you in advance just for getting these forms done. And again, if you have any questions, you can always call the office and I can walk you through them. All right, well, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and give it on back to the ladies.
Awesome. Thank you, Savannah. Appreciate you going through all those. Really, each of those forms provides us with important information and hopefully continues to help you and your camper understand the details of camp. So we appreciate your partnership in filling those out. The next thing we want to talk about as we are preparing for our child session is the adventure of packing for camp. Later today, you're going to be receiving the family handbook, which will give additional guidance. But in that family handbook is a really important page, which is the what to bring list. And as we consider packing our kids up for camp, we really see this as a life skill development opportunity. Please have your child pack with you. It helps them build some confidence over what they know is in their bag. They realize and they can help label the tag of every item. They can talk through, okay, if you're going to be there, at camp, how many pairs of shorts should you bring? It's really healthy to change your underwear every day. So how many pairs of underwear do you need? And when a child knows what pajamas they brought and which shirts they brought, and they've helped label them and fold them and tuck them in that duffel bag, they're less likely to lose those clothes. They are more confident when they're unpacking at camp. And again, it kind of helps them start problem solving about, what do I need to take? Now, gratefully, you really only need to pack for 1 week, even though the session is 2 weeks long, because we get to do laundry halfway through the session. We work with a wonderful company that does our kiddos' laundry, and it comes back. The laundry does go out as a whole cabin group in one giant bag, and then comes back to them to put back in their drawers. So keep that in mind. There is limited space in each dorm room for unpacking. So we want a reasonable amount of clothes in a reasonable size bag that the child can carry themselves up to their dorm room. So we recommend maybe one duffel and then, pillow and sleeping bag, and that could be plenty. If they're riding on the bus or on an airplane or even in the car and they want to bring a day pack with, a water bottle and a few just items for travel, that's great in addition. But we really, really don't need to pack for 2 whole weeks. I will mention on the what to bring list are some optional items. Those are just suggestions. They are not required, but especially for kids as they get older, they might want to bring a broken in pair of hiking boots for the backpack if they are hikers. Otherwise, a sturdy pair of tennis shoes will be fine. So don't get too anxious about packing everything. We'll have your kids covered. I would also encourage you not to go out and buy a bunch of new things. Camp is a place to run hard, and we get wet and we get muddy and dirty, and it's awesome. So bring what kids already have. Nothing with like special laundry care needs or anything like that. On the what to bring list, it does name to bring a nice outfit or two. On the Sunday in the middle of a session, campers and staff like to dress up just a little bit nicer to go to chapel. And of course, at the end of the session, we have a wonderful banquet, and campers really like dressing up for that as well. So for the boys, it might be a pair of khaki pants or shorts with a button down. For the ladies, a sundress is just totally appropriate, and some sandals. But again, the goal is not to spend lots and lots of money on new items, because we're going to run hard and hopefully get dirty and enjoy relaxing into the kinds of activities we do. Please do remember that modesty is part of our culture at camp. So in that camper code of conduct, it'll mention that. So think about, appropriate bathing suits, appropriate tops, appropriate tightness of clothes. We really want that not to be a distraction to our campers when they're up at camp. And once again, just, please label everything. Even you can have them write their name on their shampoo. It's amazing what kinds of things get left around camp and lost. But your kids can help with that Sharpie to write their initials or their name on everything. That will be helpful. One last note, just a reminder, if your campers are bringing any medications or vitamins to camp, which you will have listed on your health history, we need that to arrive in its original packaging. The easiest way to do it is, say they have a med and a vitamin, is put it in the original packaging in a Ziploc bag, and then on the Ziploc, write their name. And when they arrive at camp, they can hand that in to our nurses at the health center, which we call Club Med. And then the nurse will be distributing those at mealtime or at bedtime whenever it's appropriate that they get them. So that's kind of the packing adventure. I hope it's not too burdensome, but we really appreciate your partnership.
I love that you called it an adventure.
It is an adventure.
Everything with camp can be an adventure. You just believe us on that. Well, we've gone over lots of nuts and bolts, and we'll be taking questions in just a moment. But before we do that, let me be just a little corny. I'm a summer camp director, so I've got to squeeze in a metaphor here. As Sarah's been talking about packing, your campers' bags physically with what they're going to be needing at camp. Let's talk just a moment about packing some social emotional skills, getting ready for camp. So I'm a big fan of what we call pre-camp conversations. And if you have any follow-up questions on this that don't get answered, please call our office. I would love to. She would love to. Any of us would love to talk about what it looks like to engage in some intentional conversations before camp to start preparing your camper, because camp actually can start long before your camper arrives at camp. And so some of the conversations that you can start having now prepare your kid for having a wonderful and successful session. So there are so many that I could go over. I'm going to dial back and just talk about one real central theme and talk about maybe 3 ways that this might show up at camp. And so these conversations really center around developing and utilizing your camper's voice. And so helping them learn how to share and speak up when it's needed. So 3 ways that this might come up at camp. Start talking to them about what they might do if and when they need help. Who do they go to? What do they ask? Maybe it's something like, they need help remembering to take their morning medications each day. Maybe it's something like they might need help falling asleep at night. Or maybe it's something like they need help making friends. Whatever it is, when they start to feel like they need help, who do they go to? What might they do? And so starting to have that conversation and helping them realize that they have an active participation in their experience at summer camp is huge. Another conversation that might come up is helping them speak up if and when they experience some homesickness. About it, some studies show, and we've talked about this in a couple of previous morning on the porches, but 97% of our campers will experience some homesickness. Now that feels like a lot, but you can actually, you don't have to tell them where you got it from, but you can tell them, hey, I was reading an article from camp and I heard that it's really common for kids to experience some homesickness. What might you do if you start to feel, some homesickness? What do you think that would feel like to be homesickness? Some of our campers have no idea what it feels like to actually be homesick. And so you might actually start having that conversation so that when it happens, it's not the first time that it's ever occurred to them. And they might feel a little bit more prepared to talk to their counselor or talk to another staff member that they feel close with and open up and share, hey, I'm starting to feel this. And for the follow-up on that statistic, 97% of our kids might feel homesick in the first couple of days. And for more than 80% of those kiddos, it resolves in the first couple of days. And so we encourage our campers to speak up about that. And the third thing that this topic might look like at camp is really talking with their counselor if they start to notice any cabin dynamics that come up. We gather a bunch of kiddos. Some of them are best friends. Some of them don't know each other at all. And we gather them in a cabin for 2 weeks. There is bound to be a little bit of conflict. That is healthy. We love that. That helps them start to gain those skills of conflict resolution, of keeping friends, of making friends. So helping your camper, hey, if you start to have any conflict with a cabin mate, or if you notice anything, or if you feel disrespected or feelings hurt, or there's a miscommunication, whatever that looks like, what are some of the ways that you could go about solving that? How have you done that at school? How have you done that at home? How could you do that at camp? These are just a couple of quick ways to start developing their voice, so that when they come to camp, and if they start to feel like they need help with something, like they're missing home a lot, like they're unsure of how to navigate some cabin dynamics, we want to support them and help them. But we need their partnership. We want their partnership to feel like they can be agents in growing those. And so we have a lot of different ways at camp that we support that. We train our staff to move towards those things as soon as they see it, whether it's homesickness, needing help, cabin dynamics. And so our staff are right there to walk them through all of those things. And then we have surveys that we actually do twice per session. And we proctor them in such a way that we really invite their open and honesty. We really want them to be able to feel safe in reporting any cabin dynamics, whether it's their own feelings of homesickness, whether it's a disagreement that they've had with a cabin mate, and so we say, our directors are the ones that read it, and we read it. I read every single one, and so there's lots of times that we want and give your camper opportunities to use their voice, and so partner with us at home, help them start to utilize that and develop that, so that they're ready when they come to camp to be able to really feel like they're an active agent in making a really wonderful session. So it is nearly 10:30, and so we are going to shift to questions and answers. Savannah, do you have some questions that you've been gathering throughout this time this morning?
I do. And this is just a reminder, if any questions have come up, please throw them into the Q&A at the bottom, and we'll start answering them. I do have a couple of questions. First question is regarding packing. The question would be, are there any mosquitoes? Should we pack bug spray for camp?
A great question. And yes, insect repellent is on the what to bring list. Not to worry if they forget that or they run out. We also have mosquito repellent in our little canteen, our camp store. And on the settle up form is where you would put in the amount of money you would want your camper to have on credit in the canteen. So nobody ever carries money at camp. There's no opportunity to lose it or anything like that. So they can get some bug spray there. I will say with the amount of snow and rain the Sierra has had this year, I do anticipate we will have robust mosquitoes. And so if your child needs practice spraying on that mosquito repellent, you can practice at home, but their counselor will also be doing that with them. Also, if they, you can prompt them that if they're feeling really itchy, to please go to Club Med, to the health center, and get some additional support with that itchiness. We don't want those mosquito bites to get, too scratched up. But, and then we also really encourage kids to, in the evening, wear long sleeves and that kind of thing. So yes, we can count on those friends with us this summer.
It is a part of this summer, and it's embedded into our culture. So often before we set off to another activity, everyone does a quick sunscreen and bug spray routine. So they will be well supported in that. Yeah.
Awesome. The next question is, what type of laundry bag is best when they have their dirty clothes, or do they need a laundry bag?
I always, with my kids, you can send a mesh bag, one of those net mesh bags, or simply a pillowcase, because they'll be stowing that during the week, the first week, as they're using, various clothes. And then mid-session, everybody in the cabin is going to empty all their clothes into one very large bag. So that's the bag that gets sent out to the local laundromat to get done. So they just need a smaller one to keep their things together until it goes into the bigger bag. Good question.
This next question I'm going to go ahead and answer. It is, when do we need to decide on bus transportation to get to camp? That is a great question. So of course, as you know, all forms are due 1 month prior to the start of your camper session. You will receive many emails reminding you that those forms are done. And one of them, being the transportation form, is a part of that. So I would say best rule of practice is to stick with that 1 month prior. I do know some things do come up where plans change, travel plans change. That is a call to me, to the office, to just see if we have room on the bus, because we do have a certain amount of spots and it is a first come, first serve opportunity. So if you could do it before the 4-week mark, before your camper session, that would be great. And if not, if things come up, just call the office and we will help you out, or I'll help you out. Great. I have a couple other questions. Do they need a small bag or tote for toiletries going to the bathroom to shower? It's a great question.
Yeah, a bathroom caddy is definitely helpful because we don't store our, our bathroom utilities, so they will be carrying it to and from, their cabin. Now, when I say to and from their cabin, it is a, 3-step walk, so it's not an arduous walk. So some of our campers will bring a caddy. You don't need the big college dorm room caddies, but a small little basket or something can be helpful. But also lots of our campers just grab their toothbrush and toothpaste and walk on over to the bathroom. So it's not an essential item, but if your camper, struggles to keep everything together, then that might be a helpful thing. So you know your camper best, but a caddy can be helpful, or just, they can pick it up and carry it.
Yeah. And even I always like, something that has a zipper on it, so that, just a little bag. A lot of campers also use a gallon size Ziploc, again, with their name on that, and everything goes in there.
Awesome. Great. Well, those were all of our questions that we have. So thank you to everyone who had any questions. And if any more arise from now until the start of your camper session, we are always ready to chat with you and just to walk you through the process and to answer all your questions. So don't hesitate to call the office, because we will be there to help you.
Wonderful. Well, I'm going to go ahead and then close us up. Again, thank you for joining us. Your family handbook, as we mentioned, will be going out this afternoon. And then do put on your calendar our next morning on the porch, which is the last one prior to summer, is May 24th at 10 a.m. Our topic is, again, going to be pretty practical. It's kind of a day in the life of a camper. What to expect in the course of the schedule and any special offsite days. We'll be talking more about how to keep in touch with them and how to know how they're doing during the session. And then again, we'll have some Q&A time as well. So we will be sending out a recording of this morning on the porch. And on that page will be links to our previous mornings on the porch. So if you missed one about how we build skills through activities, or why camp, why and how does camp build character in kids' lives, you can listen to those or share them with friends. So thanks for inviting us into your morning, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes. Hi, thank you.